The Eagles are fascinating to me. They were 10-1. They finished the season 1-6 to end the year, and they lost in weird fashion on a Monday night game to Tampa, 32-9. Which it's not like one of these NFL Films great games. That was Jason Kelce's last game. I don't know if any Eagles fan wants to talk about it. I don't know if any Eagles fan remembers it because it was such a blemish on the way the season ended. And then in the spring, Jalen Hurts was asked, what's it going to be like now that Nick Sirianni, your head coach, is going to be more of a CEO and Kellen Moore is going to be the play caller? And Jalen Hurts' answer to the media was, that's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to that. And then the Philly media took that, and that was weeks and weeks.
He's usually pretty smooth with the media.
And then The Athletic had an article a couple weeks ago saying that there's a great disconnect between the head coach and the quarterback. The head coach who has this, fire and brimstone, demonstrative, let's go and let's wear, beat Dallas T-shirts all week, versus the quarterback who might be a little bit less verbal, might be a little bit lower key, a different kind of leader. They had their press conference as training camp started. Everything's great. Everything's awesome. We're on a great page. Sirianni says, I believe we're going to go. This is a relationship I'm watching. Sirianni, sometimes when you have these coaches, Rex Ryan's one that comes to mind. We've talked about this, Kyle, where it's like, let's go, let's get going. It's great. Year 1, yeah. Year 2, yeah. Year 3, it's, oh, well, yeah. And then year 4, it's like, all right, here. Sirianni's role is changing. Kellen Moore was hired to be the play caller and to be the guy and to build the offense there. Sirianni's more of your overseer of it all, talking to special teams, talking to offense, talking to defense, kind of that CEO role. Yeah. I'm curious about Hurts and Sirianni because neither one of them expected last year to end the way it did. And if you asked us in the Super Bowl 2 years ago out in Arizona when Jalen Hurts, I still think had, if not the greatest, one of the greatest performances ever by a quarterback in the big game. This was light years from that last year when we saw what they did in December and January. So I'm going to say the Eagles, the two most important positions for any team is head coach and quarterback. And I'm not certain where we want to be going into this season, despite what they're saying in the press conferences.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. And I know you don't like that, but I just wanted to throw that in there just to make that.
You can say the word interesting.
Oh, okay.
What we don't say here is it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be
game preview.
Oh, okay, all right.
Good, baby.
For me, it's got to be the Cowboys, but more, specifically the fact that you've got 3 big players who are looking for contracts and don't have it. We've got Micah Parsons, we've got CeeDee Lamb, and, of course, Dak Prescott. And I think when I look at this and I see this, I know from a locker room's perspective, when players see other players getting paid, a la Goff, a la Tua, and all these other guys getting paid, that can lead to resentment. And that resentment can lead to bitterness. And then that can become contagious in a locker room, and it can disrupt the flow in a locker room. Look, Jerry Jones, you've got a lot of money. We know that. You've got cap space to be able to pay these guys and get them the type of money that they're looking for. When you're as competitive and when you're as good as this Dallas Cowboys team is, especially when you look at personnel, you want to pay these guys. I don't know why he's waiting. And from a financial standpoint, you're thinking, wait, the longer I wait, when you do the calculation, the numbers are only getting bigger. Right now, we saw in the last 6 years, we've seen that quarterback number jump from $28 million to $55 million. That's an average of almost $5 million a year. Yo, Jerry, man, you're going to be coming out the pocket anyway. So why don't you go ahead and pay the dude so you can be competitive? And, of course, get a Super Bowl, get another Super Bowl, because that's what the Dallas Cowboys fans are looking for.
Yeah. Well, I would take a title game. My only questions for the Cowboys this year is, you're going to lose in the wild card or the divisional? The even number years, I don't remember if they're wild card or I don't remember.
Sometimes they do get to the divisional.
Sometimes they do. So maybe they will this year.
Yeah.
So that's the only question. I go back to the Philadelphia Eagles because before we even get to this season, I'm with Peter. I still have a lot of questions about what happened last year. It's such a big thing. I feel like they need what's it called, like a tribunal or like an oversight committee? Like we go up on the Capitol Hill and be like, no, we will answer for what happened. Because as Peter said, you're 10-1, you're the best team in the league, and then the only game you won for the rest of the way was over Tommy DeVito in a Christmas Day like nail biter.
Barely, yeah.
Barely. And then they never won again. I was with Lane Johnson at the Pro Bowl on the stadium mic, and you're like, hey, Lane, talk to all the Eagles fans here about, what's the Eagles' pride? And he's like, that's not how we wanted to end the season. It was like a huge buzzkill. So, again, there was no off-the-field disaster they had to put up with. The quarterback didn't get hurt. It was just they absolutely died on a vine. And I don't know if they can reignite that. But I have some good news for the Eagles fans. Akbar, last year we had this running character on the show where last summer at this time, I needed my cable adjusted. So this guy from Verizon comes out, and his name's Mike. Mike from Verizon.
Okay.
Well, oh, he watches the show. I love ball. He's an Eagles fan. And I go, Mike, how you feeling about the Birds this year? And he goes, a storm is coming. And I go, what do you mean? They look great. And for a long time, Mike looked terrible, but then the storm did come. Guys, I have to tell you, I had some cable issues this summer a couple weeks ago.
Mike came back.
I called Mike. Mike came in, and as he's fixing the thing, I say, Mike, let's talk Birds. And in fact, Mike, I want to take a picture with you. And in the picture, I want you to emote how you feel about the Eagles this year. So you're either pissed off and scowling. Here's Mike from Verizon, my Eagles fan, my resident Verizon technician. Bring it up. Let me see the picture. There we go. He feels great with his Liberty Bell hat. He's doing a 6-shooter, and he said, hey, man, we're all set this year. So I go, Mike, you always zag when everyone's going this way. Mike feels great, lifelong Eagles fan. He says they got it. He says, we're all set this year. That's this year's A Storm Is Coming. We're all set.
I like that.
I don't see it, but Mike keeps it real, Akbar.
I see it. I see it. I mean, like, for me, it starts with Saquon.
Sure.
Didn't even mention him yet.
No, didn't even mention him.
Yeah.
Now, personally, I wish I saw Mike less because he didn't have to come out the house adjusting all that, but that's a different story. He likes the
Did Mike
Eagles.
hook you up with a couple extra channels there?
I slipped him a 50 rainbow
Good to
package,
know, right?
and now he stalks me.
Now,
I'm kind of mad that you still have cable, though. I mean,
What are you talking about? We're on cable right now, you idiot.
we want
Okay.
cable.
Welcome to the show.
More cable. Kyle, real quick, you mentioned the Eagles need the oversight committee. If you could put people on that panel to ask questions about how that season finished, who would you put on?
Well, first of all, it's like, who do you want to get on the stand? I watch Presumed Innocent. Let me get Big Dom up on the stand. I got some questions for
Let's
Dom.
go.
I might be taken out before I could question him, but I want to ask him, Sirianni, ownership.
M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan should be there.
Bradley
Cooper should be there.
Miles Teller.
Yeah, Miles Teller, Peter Schrager, everybody. Yeah. We got questions about last season. It's not just going to be, we're moving on now. I don't know if you are moving on. You know what I mean? We got to find out.
I know. So does that mean just like by the table, are you comfortable with the Cowboys at this point?
Cowboys are what the Cowboys are. Wild card or divisional, you just take your pick, flip a coin. It's fine. And it's a great season. Which one's it going to be? We'll find out this year.
It used to be such an underhanded insult. Now it's just right in your face. Take your pick anytime in January.